Good afternoon to you wherever you're watching us from. It's a wet Tuesday here at the studios of the Nation newspaper. My name is Bolarinwa. I've got our in-house analyst here, Mr. Aderibigbe. We are here behind the news to give you all of the hot topics as it is in our national dailies. And it's a wet Tuesday, as I mentioned, and today we've got hot topics to keep you warm. Mr. Adeyinka, good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning this afternoon. Yes, it's a wet day, and we wish all our viewers a very warm day, despite the weather. Thank you for keeping it locked to the nation. Thank you for watching us. Let's go the journey together once again.
All right, taking this first from the Nation newspaper, where at the headline story says, President to oil workers, avoid strike that undermines economy. The windows we also have Edu, allocation to states risen by 111%. We also have Council of State Police Council meets Thursday. Heading to the Punch newspaper, we've got Pengasan fires back as Shetima defends Dangote. We also have insecurity, Tinubu to meet Council of State Police on Thursday. We also have petrol imports dropped to 8-year low, according to reports. And finally, we have the New Telegraph newspaper, which says Nigeria lost 200,000 barrels per day to strike. That's coming from Ojulari. The windows, we have Bagudu. Nigeria's external fiscal position strengthened with $2.28 billion current account surplus. And we have Akpabio, Kanu, IPAC drum support for gender electoral reforms. Let's head to the Nation newspaper, where we've got the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, urging oil workers to avoid strikes that undermine economy. Taking this first from the lead, the federal government came out hard on Petroleum and Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan, yesterday over last month's strike during their face-off with Dangote Refinery and Petrochemicals, DRP. We cannot hold the whole nation to ransom because of issues that we can amicably settle across the table, says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And it is no news that Pengasan and Dangote Refinery has been in a face-off due to issues we will be uncovering in this show. First off, Mr. Adeyinka, and you just shed some light about the ongoing brouhaha between Pengasan and Dangote refineries.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think for most part of the crisis, Pengasan, which is the Senior Staff Association of Petroleum Workers, have been at daggers drawn with the Dangote refineries and petrochemical over its intention to stop workers from being unionized. They insist that it is the right of the workers to be unionized, while Dangote has been saying that it does not want unionism in its establishment, especially at this gestative or formative period. It's rolled out a number of things, letting Nigerians know that it's paying top of the industry wages and emolument to its workers, and is concerned about their welfare, top-notch welfare for that matter, and that if it's all about, if unionism has to do with issues of welfare and wages or salaries, that there's nothing to fear. Of course, it beggars belief that you want an investor who risk a $25 billion investment, he could have taken that money elsewhere. But believing that African economy must be salvaged by Africans, and being a Nigerian, insisting that Nigeria or Nigerians must be involved in pulling the nation out of the woods. And so we see a Dangote investing heavily in the up and downstream sectors. He even told us of his intention to bring in 10,000 trucks, CNG trucks, into the country. It has already injected 4,000 of such trucks already, and he has given indication of what each driver of those trucks will be collecting. It also went further to say that all you need as an end point customer is to just come with your LPO to the refinery. His men will ensure that they deliver free of charge to your dump point or your fuel station or your filling station, removing the arbitrage that goes to middlemen between the gangs when you pick the fuel at the refinery and then take it to the consumer through the filling stations. You know, there were also that allegation that has not been denied or debunked after 2 weeks now, that Pengassan was insisting on collecting 50,000 naira on each trucks loaded at the refinery. You know, so giving indication, the summary, so giving indication that Pengassan is against Dangote refinery, not because of altruistic purposes of fighting for the interest of workers, but for its own pecuniary benefits. And the hand in glove of Pengassan up till this moment has not really shown off the fact that there might be other considerations outside of the welfare of workers, you know, which was why the presidency threw its weight behind the Dangote refinery, with the vice president, Senator Kazim Shettima, coming strongly yesterday, and even today also the presidency warning the oil workers not to be a threat to the nation's economy. Recall, that also last week, Senator Ali Ndume of Borno West have also called on the presidency to, if possible, use the hammer against any oil worker or associations that might want to threaten the well-being of the nation's economy. The fact remains that since Dangote started the downstream retailing, we have seen some relative stability in the volatile petroleum markets. We have seen a return of trust. We have seen that oil import or fuel import has dropped over time. So you have everything pointing upwards or pointing northwards, that it's an investment in the right direction for the country, especially when all of our national assets in that sector have been technically declared moribund because they could not function. So you have a private investor who is salvaging the economy, who is giving hope back to Nigeria, who is making the economy to bounce back, and then you have a band of people bent on sabotaging that. I hope they will not push the government to use the hammer against them. I hope they will not want to push their luck to the point where Nigerians will see them for who they are. Because a situation where Nigerians are already following the money that is involved in the disgruntled fight with Dangote, who has come to the public domain to say that these people are demanding 50,000 naira per truck that is loaded at the refinery. It says it has capacity to load 2,500 minimum per day. So we are looking on the average of a group of men or association of oil workers that will be creaming off billions of naira monthly, all because they are in an association. So how much are the states collecting monthly from the federation accounts? Through the federation allocation, that you have an association that will be making billions just from a product and all that. So Nigerians are already getting agitated. Already, their actions has led to a spike in the price of gas.
Yes,
and so it's already becoming very combustive for Pengasan or any of the oil workers, no matter what the name they be so called. I hope they will let reason prevail, and then we are not talking of being unnecessarily protective of any monopolist economist. We are merely saying that we have come to a point in the life of Nigeria that we need to reassess our engagements and know when to call a stop when our action is unnecessarily generating heat that is becoming uncomfortable, both to the leaders as Dangote Refinery as a corporate citizen also have a fundamental right to breathe, just as the workers who are up in arms against them are insisting on their right to come together for their overall interest.
All right, so I thank you for that analysis. But now let's head into the adverse effects of this, all of this victory. We've yesterday the group CEO of NNPCL, Mayor Julari, came out and said he gave some shaky figures, and those figures are quite disturbing to hear for the average Nigerian, where over 200,000 barrels per day have been affected in the last 1 week. And in Lagos, I believe homes will bear witness that the cost of cooking gas is beginning to skyrocket, and is beginning to affect daily living, because the average home is dependent on cooking gas. And if a kg of cooking gas is rising up to 2,000 naira, 2,500 naira just for a kg, that at the barest minimum you probably just serve 2 meals or 3 meals. This is becoming probably a national struggle already, because a lot of homes are beginning to face this adverse effect, Mr. Aderibigbe.
Yes, not only homes facing the adverse effects in the shortage of gas, I also want to believe that it is also responsible for the blackouts that some discos are recording on their systems. I know for sure that Ikeja Electric is already recording some blackouts since weekend.
The report says 1.2 megawatts of power generation also.
Exactly, because they needed gas to also power the production. So when you are having this kind of shortage, it will also affect them as well. And so these are the kind of tailspin that will occur when this kind of thing happens. It takes one back to that era during the agitation for the return of democracy, 1993, and the after effects, when the late Frank Kokori led NUPENG on that national strike that paralyzed the nation's economy, So this is also getting close to it. And I believe that was why Shettima was very brutal yesterday when he insisted that Dangote refinery, being a national asset now, must be protected from those who are barely hiding the intentions to sabotage the nation. And of course, I do not, I see a nexus between his position and the presidency's position today, also calling, the presidency is barely lowering the temperature that Shettima, the vice president, raised yesterday, which of course you saw some, the Pengasan reacting to in some newspapers this morning. I want to believe that they will also still react to the presidency's position tomorrow. But be that as it may, what is certain at this stage is that something will have to give. But before it gets to that point, I believe that Pengasan needs to call itself to order. Respected leaders, past union leaders, one of them, Senator Adams Oshiomhole, last week was also trying to mediate and also calling on Pengasan to shed his words. I think this is the period when national interest must be allowed to prevail. This is the period when Pengasan leaders must walk the narrow corridor of statesmanship. This is the period when they must rise above pecuniary interests. This is the period when They must wear the toga of patriotic Nigerians who are interested in the growth, in the well-being, in the health of the nation's economy. They must not be seen as working against the interests of the nation in whatever hue or whatever image or whatever shadow. They must resist the temptation of fighting a proxy war on anybody's behalf at this stage. The refinery we are talking about is less than a year old in operation. I think associations like Pengasan ought to give a moratorium of a minimum of 3 years before you even begin to think of talking of unionizing such corporate entities. I know, as a unionist myself, that such window exists for corporate entities to enjoy a moratorium where they will be able to at least ascertain that they could survive the volatile economy climate that they found themselves. Coming up in arms against a 6-month company and fighting as if everything depended on it is giving an indication that there might be more that they are not willing to disclose. And if they allow Nigerians to get these informations by themselves, it may not be palatable. You know, they might lose all, because of course the government will not fold its hands and allow a band of men to want to destroy the peace that the refinery is bringing back to the nation at this stage.
We just hope that we can only hope and watch where this will land, and we see the presidency's intervention, and we hope they would allow all of this to have a sail through, because families will not want to be held at ransom, and this is what the presidency is kicking against. Do not hold the nation in hostage just because of your own interest. I don't want to put the selfish interest there. Just because of your own interest, do not hold the country at ransom. Away from Pengasan and Dangote refineries, the presidency yesterday said that states are beginning to get awash with cash, and this is coming from Mr. Wale Edun. He said, taking it from the lead, allocation to states have increased by 111%. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Mr. Olawale Edun, said yesterday. He said, states are now awash with cash, adding that the additional funds empower states to drive growth and service delivery at the subnational level. This is a very good news for states and for the country at large, because states now have enough cash to work with when it comes to settling off their daily necessities, and we've been seeing this reoccurring from the FARC allocations gotten monthly by the states, and we've been seeing an increase in these allocations, and I believe you want to share something on that first.
I want to say on a lighter note that this is the best time to be a governor and this is the best time to be a local government chairman. You know, what is the state of the housing stock in many of these states? What is the state of transportation in many of these states? Are they still focused on the elitist alternatives of rushing to construct an airport rather than keying into the initiative of the regulator, the National Railway Corporation, who is promoting the railing with the state alternative that encourages states to come together and revive the old corridors and provide rails or rail system as an alternative form of transportation for their people. Many of the states are seeing what Lagos is doing in the area of Blue Line and the Rail Line, for which is shared common corridor with the Nigerian Railway Corporation. It has also started work on the Green Line, and work is also at different formative stages on the remaining 3 lines. Will they copy Lagos, that is already taking actions and increasing the alternatives that they provide for their people in terms of modes of transportation? What of health care? Are we still having glorified clinics? Or we have fully functional health institutions that one can really be proud of in many of the states? What of areas of security? Are we promoting safe havens, or we are interested in just dumping money to bandits? I mean, these are issues that Nigerians are beginning to ask their governors and their leaders at the subnational and the subnational level. Because as the governors are getting the money, so also are the council chairmans or council chairmen also getting much more at this time. So we are putting our attention and we are following the money at this time. What Mr. Wale Edun has been able to do is to push the narration or the narrative away from blame game and narrowing to the federal government, but to also expand the conversation and bring in the state governments and the local governments. In many jurisdictions, local governments provide houses for their residents. You live in a local government. You do not live in the national government, as it were. You live in a state. You live in a local government. Many places, local governments have own airports that states in the Nigerian jurisdiction are fighting over. So there are so many things that Nigerians are contending with and for which they are asking questions. I want to believe that they will not push Nigerians to be asking very tough questions, because everybody at this stage, we are bent on looking at where the subsidy removal is eventually entering. You cannot remove from the people and then dump to another set of people just to be looted. Sorry to use that word, but Nigerians, to many of us, the trust quotient is very low at this time. So the onus is on the governor, now that the coordinating minister of the economy and the finance minister has pushed the cheese to them, to also be able to come out to say, this is what we are doing with the people's money.
to the local government, to the governors. The challenge is out from Mr. Adeyinka. What are you using these monies for? And Nigerians are keen and are begging to know answers. They are begging to get answers of this.